is that this session is going to be recorded tonight. So I do want to make sure that you're aware that this session is recorded. I do own all the rights to the session. I will promote this video and I will potentially share this video with my community. I may do nothing with the video, but I want to make sure that you are aware of that this session is being recorded tonight. So if you want to ask a question, you don't have to give your full name. You can give your first name, or just please don't give your last name in the session. If you want to email me and connect with me, or sign up for something as we talk about something in this program, you can do that. But don't share your last name. Just share your first name, so that you can remain anonymous from the general public. But you can still have a conversation with me and those here in our group. So I am super, super, super excited that you all have taken out some time for your Sunday evening to be here with me. This means a lot to me because I love helping women. I love helping women thrive. I love helping women to attract the love that they deserve. And so that's why we're here, and I am super, super excited about that. So those who are in my Facebook group watching, I am going to encourage you, if you do want to ask a question and have a little more interaction with me, I'm going to encourage you, and I'm going to wipe this camera for one moment. I'm going to encourage you to click on the link and really sign up so you can come into the Zoom session so we can have a conversation one-on-one. This session is, at the end of this session, I'm going to leave a lot of time for Q&A because I really want to help women. I am on a mission to help some women this year attract the love that they deserve. And without further ado, we're going to start to jump in. I see people are still joining, so I'm just trying to give everyone a little chance. I know everyone is wrapping up their weekend, finishing their Sunday dinner, and then trying to join. Tonight is going to be a power pack session, but I can guarantee you that it will be well worth your time. Those who are familiar with me know that I don't do fluff and stuff, that I really spill a lot of the tea. I give you a lot of the juicy information. If you ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. I will just ask that you prepare yourself for the answer, because sometimes we're used to dealing with individuals, coaches, people in our community that just tell us what we want to hear. And we're not used to people telling us the truth so that we can really benefit. And it's really important that you understand the truth about what's going on, where you are, and what you need to go to the next level. For many of us, the next level could be just getting a better job, better career, making more money. For a lot of us, we're here tonight because the next level is, it means going from single to married, right? And so if you want to really know how to do that, I'm going to help you do that. And that's the whole purpose of tonight's session. So I'm super, super, super excited about that. So I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to dive right into the session. So although I have slides, tonight is going to be pretty informal because I want to share information with you, and I want to make sure you have an opportunity to really ask me questions at the end. So I'm going to fly through this information really quick. Hold on, I'm trying to share my screen, and I didn't hit the share button. I'm going to go through my information because, like I said, I really want to leave some time for you at the end to ask as many questions as you want. That's what's important to me, that each and every one of you get the help that you really desire. And hopefully I'm not on the right screen, so just give me a minute here. Give me a minute. I don't know that I'm sharing the right screen. Let's try this one. Okay, and so hopefully you are seeing my presentation. Okay, you should all be seeing my presentation. And so I want to welcome you. So for those who don't know me, my name is Camille Sheppard-Parrish, and I am the Healthy Love Coach. I'm going to tell you a tiny bit about my journey as we go along. The longer you know me, the more you work with me, the more you'll get to know me, and you'll really understand how I can help you and even why I do that. So if you're trying to connect with me on social media, my handle is your girl Camille. And you can connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, social, Twitter, any of those platforms if you use that handle. I'm not going to go through all of this detail. You can pretty much read it if you like, but the gist of it is that I'm the author of a book called Successful Women Date Differently: Secrets to Attracting the Love That You Deserve. And I used to be a host of a radio show and a TV show. I no longer have those because I've been focusing more on working directly with women. So this year you might see me go back towards more TV because I'm looking to do more TV and radio appearances over the next year. So you might see me creep back into that field a little bit more. But I'm also the creator of the Love Rejuvenation Retreat and the Love Breakthrough Summit. And these events are really designed to help you go deeper in identifying what's blocking you from the love that you deserve, and also put you on a path so that you can truly attract the love that you deserve. I help women all over the world attract the love that they deserve, right? I help experts. I help successful women. I help regular women. I help professional women. I have worked with many different types of women, and I really help them to attract the love that they deserve. And as a result, the women in our organization, they are in relationships. We have women who are married, women who are pregnant, and now they're just living their best life after working with me. And so that's what we help them do. And how did I get here? Just real quick, super short. I was married for 19 years. I got married pretty young. Actually, I was married very young at 19 years old. And then that marriage didn't work because it was a very, very abusive relationship, physically abusive. And so I had to exit that marriage. We got married in April, and that marriage was done in August because of the physical abuse I endured. And I recognized my worth. I didn't know why he was doing that at the time. Later on, I realized that he was addicted to drugs. He was doing coke. He was doing pills. He was doing all sorts of things, and it caused him to have abuse me. It was really controlling him. I later went on. I got out of that abusive, toxic situation. And so that's why I teach about healthy love. And I went on to get into a relationship and marriage that lasted for almost 20 years. And we'll talk more about that relationship and why it ended. But in short, one thing I want you to know is if you have not finished doing your inner work, you're going to pull someone to you that mirrors what you need to work on. So if you still have some things to work on, you want to work on those things before you get into a relationship. A lot of times people think that you come to a relationship 50-50 and then you'll both make 100%, but you really need to come to a relationship healthy and whole, and your partner needs to come to that relationship healthy and whole. All right, and to make 200%, if you will, right? And in short, I thought I could really get over my young relationship at 19 by just moving on to the next one without doing any of that inner work, and it proved to be wrong. And what I found out is that I was the common denominator in both of those relationships. So I needed to stop and take a pause and try to figure out why was I attracting men that were no good for me, right? Why was I attracting men that didn't have my best interests at heart? And when I started dating again, I knew that I had to date differently, which is why my book is called Successful Women Date Differently. So I started researching, I started studying, I started understanding and learning more about the dating process, which is now part of what I teach to women in my program. I started interviewing men. I started learning the truth about what the problems were in common day relationships, right? So many times we date with the information we have from our mother or our grandmother, not realizing that things have changed. So we needed to understand a modern way to date. And so now that's what I teach women about. And again, as I mentioned, I started researching and studying, and I noticed the common thread between the women who attracted men that were relationship ready, that wanted to marry and commit to them, and women who repelled men. And then also they did this by comparing themselves and ultimately living in fear. And these women were not attractive to men. And I learned that there were some very specific things that women were doing without even realizing it that caused them to attract quality men, relationship ready men, men who wanted to commit to them and really looking to get married and build a future with them. And I compiled all of this information together. As many of you know, I have gone to school and received my PhD. And so through that process, I've really learned how to research and compile data and put things together in a way that is very understandable to people. I really learned that there's some very specific things that women were doing again. And so what I did was develop what I call now my blueprint to dating differently. And so this is what I want to share with you. Tonight, I'm going to share with you my blueprint to dating differently. I'm going to share some other tips and some strategies that can really help you attract the love that you deserve. Okay, so this is what I want you all to understand, is that when you start to understand the secrets to attracting the love that you deserve, what you will start to get is that attracting a husband is not just about getting out there and flirting and trying a few tricks to trap a man into liking or loving you or committing to you, nor is it about really hiding your insecurities or your fear or your emotional baggage. Until you really get deeper in a relationship and then you decide, surprise, I'm going to show you all my ugly stuff inside, right? That's not what a relationship, that's not how you really get into a relationship. That's not how successful women, that's not how women who work with me are getting into a relationship. Yes, you can attract a man that way, but that's not how I recommend getting into a relationship. And I'm just keeping it real because most of us wear masks all day long and most days, right? When we go to work, we wear masks. When we deal with people, go to parties, right? Our walls are up, our fears are, we're trying to hide them. We're trying to hide our pain. We're trying to hide the baggage that we might be carrying. And through that process, it causes us not to trust men. We really don't have the confidence that we should have. And then we really don't have the skills that we need to really attract a husband. So what I want you to really understand is that if you can relate to this, that no matter how much you try to work on yourself externally, it's really not going to attract the love that you really deserve. Your appearance, your education, your career, those things are not the things that really attract men. And most of us tend to believe that if we're successful, if we have a beautiful home, if we have a great house, if we have a nice car, we can kind of lure a man in with those things. But let me tell you, real men are not attracted to your stuff. Real men are attracted to what they can do for you. How could they enhance your life? And this beautiful young woman in the picture here with her husband, she recently got married this past October. She was a client of mine and a student of mine. And she worked with me for quite a long time. As a matter of fact, she worked with me for 2 years. The first year took her some time to really understand what her ish was and realize that we really had to do the work from the inside out. A lot of times women come to me because they work with other coaches and they read all of these books and they think they could just apply all of the dating rules and all of the things that they've heard of to their life and boom, they got a man. But what they find out is after you get into a relationship, those things kind of don't work. And what happened is that men realize that you're still broken inside. And if you get connected with the wrong type of man, they'll take advantage of that. They'll use you. They'll take your money. They'll do all sorts of things to really break your heart, right? And so what Dana finally learned is that she had to do her work for real. She couldn't fake it. She couldn't tell me she was doing her homework and doing the work and making the changes that we talked about together. She had to really follow the plan that she and I put together on how to approach her dating process and who she was going to draw to her and how she was going to go about that process, right? And once she got really serious about that, She attracted a man instantly. And literally after the first date, I think the first couple of dates, he proposed to her. She said no, because it was too soon. But this guy, this sweet young man in the picture here, he purchased her a ring and everything within 30 days of them meeting because he knew this was his wife. And guess what? He didn't care that she said no because he was going to be consistent. He was going to stay the course, and he knew that he wanted her to be his wife. And so later on, he proposed again. And of course, she said yes. And not only did he buy her a ring, he bought her bracelet, earrings, everything to go with it. So, you know, this man really knew what he wanted. He knew it instantly. And this is all due to Dana doing her work. Okay. And so does any of this sound familiar? Listen to a few of these things. So just let me know if any of these things sound familiar. Are you currently sick and tired of attracting the wrong type of men and getting into relationships that don't lead to marriage or even commitment, right? Or sometimes not even for a man paying for you. Sometimes a man wants to take you out and go Dutch, right? He doesn't even want to commit to a meal. He just wants to meet you at Starbucks over and over and over again, or meet you at a park, or go for a walk. He doesn't want to invest his time and money in you. Does that sound familiar to you? Are you attracting men that are not really interested in you, right? But have a hard time attracting the men that, well, are you attracting men that you're not really interested in, right? But are you having a hard time attracting the guys that you truly desire? A lot of times we're attracting men, but they're not who we want. They're not who we're interested in, right? And we do that over and over again. And we're like, my gosh, I'm just attracting all the wrong guy. And either they're not attractive, they're not sexy, they don't have money, they don't have their act together, they got 5 baby mamas, they're not divorced, they want me to be a side chick, blah, 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 right? If you're attracting any of those type of men, I want you to really listen up. If you're someone, have you recently been in a relationship where someone cheated on you? Right? Or worse, you found out that they were married or got married, right? A lot of us have experienced that more than you ladies realize. Are you in between relationships, but before you dive in a relationship, you want to really understand the psychology of men before you get on a dating scene? A lot of young millennials now are really approaching me because they want to know how, you know, what is the process of dating differently, and what type of dating strategies should they learn before they get out there? They want to hit the ground running, and they don't want to get their heart broke. They don't want to go through this over and over again, right? And so now they're coming to really ask, what do I need to do up front so that I can learn how to date in a meaningful way and really attract someone who's worthwhile entertaining, right? And so does this sound familiar to you? I know a lot of women have contacted me about some of these issues, which is why I'm bringing them up. And then, you know, or have you gone for years being single and you really don't have a clue about how to attract someone, or even why you're single, right? You're beautiful, you're successful, you're educated, you got all your stuff together, your money, your house, your car, your everything, right? You go on your vacations, you do all your stuff, right? But you're still single and you're trying to figure it out. If any of that sounds familiar, what I want you to consider now is changing your outcomes. What if I told you that you can change your outcomes, right? Just like Jamie. Jamie's pictured here. She's also been a client of mine. She's also been at my retreats. She changed her outcome. She was single for many, many, many years, right? Very successful woman. She's an entrepreneur. She owns several businesses, so she's very well off, right? But she was able to change her outcomes. She was still single. She didn't have the skills and understand what she needed to work on to really attract a meaningful relationship. Not one that was on again, off again, that would run hot and cold. Not one when the guy would ghost her or disappear when the holidays come, or when it's time to give her a gift or meet her family. But she met a guy who was really in love with her. Right? He really fell in love with her and he asked to marry her. And they got married, and within 3 months, I believe, of them, they got married last March. So their baby is due in January. So it tells you how fast they worked, right? And so they got married, and now they're having their instant family. But that took work. So you can change your outcomes, and you can really learn how to attract the love that you deserve. You can go from single and being desperate or lonely. I like to say being home with your cat, so just yourself, right? Watching movies, eating cheese and wine by yourself, right? To really attracting a guy, or to really even understanding what inspires men to make a deep connection with you, right? And once you learn the secrets to connecting with a man in a way that inspires him to cherish you and love you only, you'll understand how he and why he is drawn in to really wanting to be the only man in your life. What if you could change your outcomes? So that's my question now. What if you could? What if next year this time you were waking up in the arms of the man of your dreams, your Mr. Right? What if? What if that were possible, right? A year ago, Jamie was not married, right? A year ago, Jamie was just meeting her Mr. Right after our retreat last October. She came to our retreat, and shortly after that, she met the love of her life. And then in March, she got married. So a year ago from today, she was not married. She hasn't even been married a year yet. And she's already getting ready to have a baby, right? So what if you could have the same situation? What if a year from now you could wake up in the arms of your Mr. Right? What if a year from now you could be expecting a child if that's what you so desire, right? What if that were you, right? What if your outcomes could be different? What if you could learn the blueprints to dating differently and becoming super, super passionately irresistible to any and every man that you desire? What if you just knew you could have a conversation and an interaction with the man, and he could connect with you because he could recognize you as a woman who has done her inner work, a woman who is passionate and irresistible, right? What if a high quality marriage-minded man pursued you and begged for your hand in marriage, right? This happened to Jamie, right? She went from just being successful, owning a lot of businesses, having a lot of money, but just not having someone to share any of these experiences with, to having not only a good man, but a man who married her, and now they've started a family together. And he lavished her with lovely gifts, right? And he still does. They still do surprise each other. If you look on their Facebook page, they surprise each other with gifts all the time, and they post it. So they're super excited about their relationship. What if you can change your outcome? What if dating and building healthy relationship became so natural to you that what if it became second nature, that it just automatically happened, and now the tides are turned and you were the picker? You were the one that got to choose from so many men. What if your problem was that you had so many men asking to marry you, you didn't know which one to pick? That was my situation. I had several proposals. I have several men that were interested in me, and I had to decide which one was I going to really commit to and be in a relationship with. And lots of the women that I work with have the same situation, right? What if you had all of this, right? Your outcomes can change. Just hang on with me, and because I'm walking you through the process of how to change your outcomes. 2019 is coming, and I know that you're here because you desire a passionate, healthy relationship with a man who truly appreciates you and cherishes you as much as you do him. I also know that you're probably tired of settling for mediocrity. I know when I was dating, I was, right? I know that you want to stop working hard to try to impress a man and prove to him that you're his ride or die chick, right? Because you want him to just naturally see and meet you and know that you're that chick, know that you're that woman that's going to support him and stick by him, and he's going to support and stick by and cherish you. As a matter of fact, he will appreciate the strong, beautiful, powerful woman you are, just as you are, without you trying to fix up yourself, do all of this surgery, do tricks to try to get or keep him, right? He will love you for who you naturally are, right? this is exactly why we work with women. We work with women every year who struggle with being single, on not attracting the love that they deserve. I've worked with so many women that have gone to other coaches, very famous coaches, very popular coaches. They have 1 million likes on their Facebook page. But the problem is, a lot of those coaches, they don't have time to pay attention. So they give you an automatic program where you pay, you never really get to talk to them. Maybe they do a group Q&A session and you have to watch the videos and figure it out on your own, right? I've already learned, even through my program, that that doesn't work. You have to have some hand touch to really help women. And that's why our process is different, because we really work with women. I don't just send you a video. We have a live session, and we have one-on-one sessions, and we also meet for our retreats. And that's the big difference between my programs and a lot of other programs out there, is that we have a personal touch, because we truly care. In this world where no one really cares and everybody's just all about making money, people are not really caring. If someone is giving you an automatic program or automatic recording and you never really get to talk to them, they don't really care. They're just making money. They're not even getting to know your name. You're just a receipt in their database. This is why we're so successful, because for us, when you work with us, you're not just a name in our database. You are a person that has value. You are a person that has my cell number. You are a person who has my email. You are a person that I'm checking on. I'm logging into your Matched or your dating account so that I can make sure that you're being successful and being very intentional about dating. I'm your wing girl when you work with me, because I'm the one that really talks to you before and after each day to make sure your day goes well, so we can make sure we understand how and what shifts we need to make when necessary. So I'm going to talk to you. I think there's actually 4 ways that I'm going to share with you in a moment. But tonight, I really want to share with you why millions of women are going to continue to be single, while my students, they attract their Mr. Right in many times less than 4 months. Like I said, Dana attracted him in less than 30 days. Jamie did the same thing, and they both got marriage proposals within 30 days. Most women are right around the 3 or 4 months, but some women are very exceptional, like Jamie and Dana. And so I may talk about a few of the others as we go along, right? But here's my secret. We really help women restore healthy love from the inside out. I help you also unlock the power of your feminine energy from the inside out. So many people try to teach you how to do this from the outside in, right? They teach you how to take care of all the external things and be sexy and wear heels and, get snatched and all of that so that you can attract the man. That's not our process, because that stuff don't work. That stuff wears off, and there's always someone who got snatched better than you, someone who has more expensive hair than you, more expensive nails than you, more expensive whatever than you, right? And so if your man is so superficial that he's attracted to you just because your external appearance, believe me, we all get old, and as those things start to fade, so will your love. And so I teach you how to attract a man who's going to be attractive for who you are inside. And no matter how old you get, no matter what happens in life, your relationship will still be solid as a rock. And that's the kind of relationship that I help women build, not superficial ones where we go out and trick and trap a man into a relationship or get pregnant or try to pretend to be nice until we get past the honeymoon stage. Well, we help you attract men who are going to want to be with you forever, because they just love who you are. Your quirky smile, your personality, your snort when you laugh, whatever's going on with you, he's gonna love that, because what's unique in you is gonna be what makes him fall in love with you, right? So here's the real deal. This is serious. I want you all to read this. And if you don't have a pen and paper, my apologies for not saying that in the beginning. You want to get one. And if you didn't get one up till now, be sure to watch the replay of this, because this information is super juicy and super, super, super important. Okay. So many women, this is the juice right here. This is a big part of the juice that's going to lead into everything that I'm going to talk about tonight. Many women are super blind to the fact that marriage-minded men are looking for a wife who has done her inner work, who has healed from her past trauma, right? And now she really embodies her feminine energy. And she's solid, she's confident, right? Not just because of who she is externally, but who she is internally, right? And so that's the juice here. This is one of the biggest secrets that most women don't realize. And if they all were just working with me and even just on this session, they would really, really, really understand that. So the other thing men are looking for is a woman who will complement him and support him in reaching his goals, right? Men naturally support us. They usually support us in whatever we want to do. Sure, babe, go boo. I got you. I'm here for you. He's going to naturally, but he wants to also know that you're going to support him in his dreams, whether they're crazy or not. He wants to know that you're going to support him. You're going to believe in him, right? And so this is super important. However, I gotta say, however, many smart and powerful women, you know, they really haven't figured out how to tap into, I mean, they've had to tap into their masculine energy to become successful, right? So let me talk about that first. They've had to tap into their masculine energy because they've had some trauma in their childhood. They've been raped, abused, maybe your parents went to jail, they did drugs, maybe you got mommy and daddy issues, and then all of the traumatic things that have happened to us in our past, what ends up happening is that they show up in your adult life. And where do they show up? They show up in your relationships. And the other place they show up in is your money. These things will mess up your ability to make the money you desire or start the business you desire to have, or even go on to make the type of money you should be making. They really will. So you have to really work on these, and these things you can't fake. I see so many women saying that they're a relationship coach, but they're still working on some trauma. What comes to mind is some of the reality show. On one of the reality shows right now, one of the women is saying that she's a relationship coach, and at the same time, she's sitting on the couch with a therapist trying to figure out her own issues, right? And so you really need to work on yourself, right? So if you have a coach that hasn't done the work herself, she may not really be able to help you get where you need to go, because you really need to work on these issues, because otherwise it's going to show up in your adult life. You're not going to have the confidence you really should have. You may have low self-esteem, low self-worth. You're going to be guarded. You're going to have guarded behavior due to these issues. Many women have bitchy behavior, right? You have the angry woman syndrome, right? You have a lot of neediness or desperate. You might be very desperate, right? You might not be trusting a man, even a good man, right? Maybe you have, because you have a lot of emotional baggage that you're carrying with you. And again, this builds up a lot of masculine energy. The other thing that this causes is for us to have loose morals. We tend to forget that. Sometimes we have very loose morals because we have been abused, or we have low self-worth or low self-esteem, and we're ready to have sex with a man on the first night. It doesn't matter if he's married. It doesn't matter if he's paid for dinner or if he's been kind to us. We're just like giving in because we just think that that's what we need to do to get the love that we deserve. But it's not. What we need to do is work on the issues and the trauma from our childhood. I love that Oprah says, if you're not working on the issues and your trauma from your childhood, you're working on the wrong thing, because you can't force a man to stay with you. You can't make him stay with you. If he doesn't want to be with you, he's not going to be with you. And if you haven't worked on your trauma, your ish, and done that inner work, most likely you're not going to get a healthy man that wants to be with you. What's going to actually end up happening is, because of your behavior and because of your ish that I like to call it, it will silently train men on how to use you up and take advantage of you. And they'll end up finally crushing your heart and abusing and abandoning you, right? They'll never commit to you, and you'll be sitting there like, I gave this man everything and he just walked away, right? One of the songs, I heard a song on the radio, and it says, and the girl in the song, she says, what are you going to do if I leave? And he says, I'm going to do me. Men are, you have to make sure man is connected with you on a soul level. Your money and your stuff, not even having a baby, is going to keep him connected to you. So you really have to understand how to make a connection with him on a soul level, and then how to really inspire him to see you as his Mr. Right. Okay. And so this is why I do what I do. This is why I now help thousands of women all around the world, because number one, I've been there. I've done that. I've had a traumatic childhood. I've had some ish back in the day. I've been raped, molested. I was molested and raped by 7 different people who raped me multiple times, right? I had to deal with that trauma. My father never knew until later on in life. I didn't tell him. My mother didn't tell him. My mother didn't even believe me until I became grown. Right. And so I've had to deal with that. I've had to work on that. If I didn't work on that and work through that, it would be very difficult, because when I was very young, it was very difficult to be in a relationship with someone, because I kept replaying that trauma in my head over and over again. So it wasn't until I did my own inner work that I was able to release that. Right. And so now I help millions, not millions, but thousands of women do this around the world. Right. And so the other thing is, that I find is that, again, women, they think that their money and their success is going to really buy love. But this is why I created all of these tools and strategies to really help women just like you. I've been there. I've been in abusive situations. I've been a young mother. I've been a single mother, right? I've been very successful. Right? I've had very corporate jobs. I've been all up and down the ladder. And that's why I'm able to really help women, because I have the experience to really help you get where you want to be. And I am planning to support you in amazing ways over the upcoming year. I'm going to take a pause from the training right now, because I want to share some of those things that I'm going to do in the upcoming year. One of the things that's going to be coming up in January, as most of you are aware of, is my Love Breakthrough Summit. So this is a summit I put on every year. So make sure you are you're on the mailing list. If you're here, you'll get a notification. So tune in. It'll start at the end of January. I always start at the last week of January, and we always wrap up right before Valentine's Day, because I like to be able to support you women who do celebrate these holidays and Valentine's Day, and you may be single or lonely. I want to make sure you have the support you need, and that's why we do this that time of the year. Also, what we have coming up, this program I haven't taught in a long time, but this program starts on December 10th, and it's my Healthy Love Intensive. And if you're on my mailing list, you've probably seen this as well. This is a fast track course. It's a 6-week program that I'm offering to help you attract love super fast, and it's super inexpensive. I think I'm ashamed to say, I don't even know how much it costs right now, but I think it's right under $300. I think it's like $275 or something like that for the program, $294, something like that. I'm sorry, I don't know. But I did make it super low cost for you to access that program. You should have gotten an email. If you got a confirmation from this session, you should see it. You can go back and look at your email at the bottom. So the program is going to be starting soon, and it's a 6-week program. I'm going to fast track you to support you during this time of year, and then also help you to attract the love that you deserve in a quick way. And sometimes that's enough for some women, and sometimes it's not, which is why I have so many other options for people. So right after our summit, the next thing that we have for women, and I'm hoping to see many of you there, I'm only looking for a few. We're only looking to have about 8 women, hopefully no more. We never like to go over 16, but I usually do about 8. It helps me to really focus on really helping these women attract love immediately, right? And so we have our Uncork and Unwind retreat, and this is going to be in Southern California at a winery, right? It's a resort and spa. All the rooms are king suite. And so everyone will have so many amenities. You'll have massage, we'll have yoga, you'll have your sessions. We're going to do a hot air balloon ride. We're going to have so many things going on. So check out our Love Rejuvenation retreat page and / Uncork and Unwind, or you can always find the link. I think that might also be in one of your emails that you recently got from me. The other thing that we're going to have, this is my big program. As you know, I offer a program once a year. So one of the things we're going to have coming up next year is my new 9-month program. Each year I change the theme of the program. Last year was Master Modern Love, right? The foundation of most of these courses are all the same, my 9-month program. But this year we're just going to have a little different flavor. And so the program is called Becoming Mrs. Right, because I want to make sure you're crystal clear about the skills, the strategy, the techniques, and what it takes to really become Mrs. Right. So even if you're married, you can still become Mrs. Right, because a lot of us are in relationships that are not happy, that are not solid, and we need to heal through that. So even if you're married, you can join us, right? But if you're single, I want to help you activate your femininity, eliminate your masculine energy, really work on your attraction, your love, and your dating. If you're divorced, how to move through that, how to heal through a breakup. So many women are coming to me, they're devastated after a breakup. And I want to really help you work through that process, right? I want to help you really do your inner work, because again, like I said, most men, they can tell if you haven't done your inner work. That's how they know who they can play and who they can't play, right? I want to help you build up your confidence and your self-worth. So that's going to be that. I'm going to take a little pause here for you to digest this before I jump back into the training. So I want you to really, if you're like overwhelmed because you're saying like, wow, Camille, that's a lot that you're going to be offering over the next year. Just take it piece by piece. One of the other things I didn't mention, 2 of the other things that I didn't, I see that didn't get into this presentation is, 1, we're also doing the Essence Fest in July. So we're going to have a mini retreat. The Essence Fest is primarily for everyone to enjoy the music and the fun going on there. But in between there, especially at night, we'll do a pajama party, we'll do some coaching sessions and some workshops there as well. I don't want to detract from what you're going there for, but you can go with us as a group, and I will have a block of hotel rooms where we will go together, have our t-shirts, have our bag, we'll network, we'll talk, we'll enjoy each other, and I will teach and pour into you during that festival. The other thing is our retreat in October that's not listed here. So keep in mind that retreat, we have that usually every October. I might shift the date a little bit because we're going to Rome and going to Greece next year. So we may shift that a little bit, but we might have our retreat. We're thinking about the south of France, on the French Riviera next year. So that's what we're thinking about. More to come on that as we solidify the plans on that. And so don't hesitate. Right now, if you want to get fast track, the Healthy Love Intensive 6-week program is probably the most economical and easy way for you to really get in and to start your work. So that's the first thing I'm going to recommend. If you're looking for the next thing, I would encourage you to sign up for the retreat in February. So that's going to be February 14th through the 17th, and it's going to be in Temecula, California, in wine country, and we're going to have a blast. And so those are the 2 most immediate ways you can work with me. And if you want to work with me a little bit long term, the Becoming Mrs. Right program will be my 9-month program, which will start in March and it will end in December. So we're just getting ready to wrap up our program from this year. This month we got a couple more classes and we're done. So so this is how you could work with me, and of course I have VIP and other programs. But I want to get back into the lesson now for tonight, because I want to leave some time for you to ask some questions, and I think we're doing pretty good on time. I told you I would be moving pretty fast tonight. It's super important. I want to talk about I think I have 4 or 5 things in here. I want you to really understand how important it is to identify your ish. So many of us are walking around with shame, blame, and guilt. We're so embarrassed because of the things that we've gone through, because of what we've dealt with. And then the way we show up in the world, we're so triggered, angry, we're bothered, we're not trusting, we have a wall up. We have to, whether you want a man or not, you have to do this piece for you. This is why this piece works. This is really the meat and guts of my program, is really helping you identify and heal your ish, the stuff that you really need to work with. Oh, here's the Essence Festival, so some things got out of order. Again, what is your ish, right? So it's really important to understand, what is your ish? Do you have, again, like I did, do you have any abandonment or rape issues? Do you have mommy and daddy issues? Were your parents divorced, in jail, on drugs? Were you bullied as a child? There's so many things that can go into being your ish. It's up to you as an individual, as you work with me, to really start to understand your ish. And the more I can understand your ish, and the more you understand your ish, the more I can understand your ish, and the more we can work together to really work through those issues. So they're no longer issues, and they're no longer love blocks, right? But we can clear them away. And to help you make a love breakthrough, and then ultimately a transformation, which will really lead to you attracting the healthy love that you deserve. So that's really the foundation of everything. So for those who are considering coming to the retreat or joining one of my programs or working with me, really realize that you have to come ready to do your work. That's my main requirement, is that you have to come ready to do your work, because I can't do your work for you. You have to be willing to do the work for yourself. You have to show up for yourself. You have to invest in yourself. And that's not always just money. That's money, that's time, that's energy, that's everything. You have to be willing to commit yourself to yourself, because if you're not willing to commit yourself to yourself, no man will ever commit themselves to you. So that's foundation number one. Understanding what's your love block, what's your ish, what's going on inside, right? What is your deepest dark secret that you're afraid of, that you don't want people to know, that you're hiding, what's causing you to wear masks, right? You got to figure that stuff out. And once you do that, you'll start heading towards the healthy love that you truly, really desire in this world, with the man that will just treat you in an amazing way. Okay. So number two, what I find with women, again, who have not done their internal work, they have not identified their ish, they refuse to even talk about their ish, they're embarrassed, and they try to pretend that they're all put together well. They look gorgeous on the inside, on the outside, but on the inside, they're a mess. They're just a mess, right? I hate to say that, but they're still triggered every time you talk to them. Have you talked to a woman and she's just triggered? What you looking at? Why did you say that? They're ready to fight. They got an attitude all the time. Always got a chip on their shoulder. They're always having a bad day, and it's always someone else's fault, right? Right? If you resonate with any of that, be honest. You don't have to talk about it here, but you need to deal with it if you want to have a healthy relationship. I'm going to encourage you not to get into a relationship until you have worked on these things, because although you might get him, you won't keep him. He will cheat. He will go down the street. He will get that McDonald's chick, as I always say, because he is not happy with you. And it doesn't have anything to do with your money or your sex. It's how you are making him feel and how he is feeling about being your man, and vice versa, right? So I'll teach you more about how you feel with him at another time. But the other thing I notice is that women, they like to have so much control. The women who have had a lot of trauma in their childhood, right? They're afraid to open up their heart and their mind to men, right? They're so traumatized. They're so broken. And there's various degrees of this. And society has made us feel so ashamed of the stuff that we've dealt with in life, because everybody's posting on social media that their life is great and it's perfect and we have no problems. Oh, what happened to my presentation here? Okay. Okay. So they like to make you think that life is so perfect. Let me get it back on full screen for you. They like to make you think that it's so perfect that they have no problems in their life and it's all a lie. They got problems. They're just showing you their best on social media. And I want you to be able to show your best because it is your best. Not because you're trying to impress anyone or try to get any accolades, but because this is truly how you're living your best life, right? So that's what I want you to do. All right. The third thing is low self-esteem. And again, this comes from your ish, not understanding or identifying your ish. Many women have low self-esteem, which causes them to settle for mediocrity, which causes them to get less than they deserve in relationships. And I want you to stop it. If you find that you're settling for a man who keeps saying, I'm going to leave my wife, I'm going to marry you, it's a lie. If he hasn't left her yet before he knew you, he's not leaving her. He's not going to get a divorce. That's why it's dragging out, right? If he's got you paying for dinner, that's all he's going to do is use you up for your money, right? He can't ever go out, because he wants to spend time with you alone and watch Netflix and cuddle and cook together. Well, that's a lie, right? And when your self-esteem is elevated, you won't settle for mediocrity. You'll be able to, after my program, my retreats, anything that you decide to work with me on, even this session, you won't settle for mediocrity anymore. You will recognize a player when he approaches you and realize that staying home, enjoying movies, and just cuddling and cooking and never taking you out in public is not love. It's a secret relationship. And he's really not ready to declare his love or even show the world that he's in a relationship with you. And so you want to be very careful of men who have that type of behavior. And when you raise your esteem and your worth, right, and your confidence is elevated, and you learn how to become the love that you truly seek in the world, these things won't happen to you, right? Because men that are cheaters and players, they won't even try you. They know. I've had men, real story, I've had men who I thought were amazing that I wanted to be with, right? Sexy, handsome, got himself together. He seemed healthy. I seemed healthy. Okay, let's see if we can make this work. But, I had a guy, he told me, he said, I think you're a beautiful person. You're wife material. But I have to be honest, I don't want to hurt you because I know I'm just not in that space yet, right? And so they will tell you no, because they have that much respect for you that they know that, one, they can't play you, or two, they recognize that you're such a good woman that they're not going to play you. See, now you're pricking their conscience, right? And that's what happens when you learn how to date differently. All of this stuff begins to happen naturally. There's no rules. I don't believe in dating rules. The only rule is pay attention to how you feel when you're with him, right? And learn how to communicate, right? And have fun, enjoy the interchange. Those type of natural rules, yes. Rules about this and that, dating rules that you find on the internet, you're going to have to forget those. Many women spend weeks trying to forget, well, shouldn't I do this? And the rule says to wait for him to call me, and I have to wait 3 hours to call him. And no, forget about the rules. Do you have a man yet? The rules are not working, so let's forget about them and move on. The other thing I want to talk about is healing power in a tribe, right? Being in a tribe is super, super important. We underestimate this. We as women, we know this naturally because we like to congregate. We like to go to places of worship. We like to go to concerts and girls' trips. We like to go out to dinner with ladies, go to the spa together. We know this subconsciously. But when it comes down to our healing, again, we don't pay attention because we get so embarrassed. You can't do your healing in the group of women that you're in. Because number one, they're probably not skilled to help you. Number two, everybody got different levels of problem. Number three, they probably got the same problems you got. They probably single too and got some stuff that they need to work through. So they really, really can't help you without a guide or a tutor. It's just like going to school. If you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, you can hang out with doctors and lawyers all you want. But until you go and register for school, right, and become trained, you're not officially a doctor or a lawyer. I don't care how much information or knowledge you got. Right? And so being in your tribe where other people are maybe walking and doing a similar journey as you really help you to build your confidence and feel okay and not embarrassed or have shame, blame, or guilt anymore because of what you've been through, right? And you're being in your tribe, finding your tribe can help you grow. It can help you heal, right? It help you resolve that trauma and let go of it and really forgive and open your heart to love, receiving love, right? It can impact how comfortable you are when you're approaching people, right? And it can help you get out of your rut, right? Right? So I always think about, other people have things going on. You don't want to burden yourself with other people's issues either, but knowing that you're not alone in the journey is power, right? That's the healing power of the tribe. Being able to trust others and allowing yourself to be vulnerable and be exposed. That's healing right there. Have you ever stood up and testified? Have you ever stood up and really told your story? Wasn't it freeing to really finally tell someone, I've been abused, I'm a rape victim, I've been battered, my parents were drug addicts, I was abandoned, I was hurt. It's so freeing to be able to share that and then do the work to heal that, right? It's so freeing, right? And oftentimes we might be worried about getting close to people, right? But it's really important to build a connection and a tribe to help you heal, right? Because trauma can really disrupt our ability to connect with people, right? Even though connecting with others is so very important in creating your breakthrough and healing and bouncing back as well as recovering. It's super important. You can't do this by yourself. If you can do this by yourself, people wouldn't be killing themselves. We wouldn't read about all these successful, smart, powerful people killing themselves because you can't do it. They needed to speak to someone. They needed to reach out for help so that they could get the support and get into the tribe they needed to help them heal and get themselves back to feeling good, right? But apparently they've been dealing with this for a long time. So if you've been dealing with singleness, loneliness, feeling low self-esteem, powerless, or feeling angry or bitter or frightened, any of these things because of something that's happened to you in your childhood, it's time to let all of that go. It's time to heal. Let 2019 be your healing year. That's what I want to invite you to. Allow 2019 be your healing year. 2018 was the year of the woman. I'm going to encourage you to let 2019 be your healing year, the year to unmask yourself, the year to do your inner work, the year to work on whatever is ailing you internally and releasing the shame, blame, and guilt so that you can finally live the life that you deserve to live, the life that you were ordained to live. That's what I want to help you do. And it could be a real challenge for many people, but it's really important to be in a community. And that's why I do things the way I do. That's why I offer the retreat. I offer the program. Now, we do a lot of one-on-one work as well. So it's not just group work. It is a lot of one-on-one work because that is key for me working and diving into your specific situation. I like to call it heart surgery. I want to get in, right? When you do heart surgery, you got to get in, solve that problem, and get out quickly. And that's what I like to do, right? But you still want to be in a community for that support. So the tribe is super powerful, as I mentioned. Like, it really can give you the emotional support. It could be a rock, a comforting place for you. It helps you really feel accepted. Because sometimes if you start telling your girlfriend the stuff you're going through, she's like, they're like, don't invite her next time, right? So you can't always tell your girlfriend or your mama and them what you're going through because they don't know how to handle it. Sometimes they might not think that you got it all together. And they're like, girl, what are you talking about? So you need to be in a place where you can feel accepted, feel empowered, heal, feel confident and unafraid. And it's super comforting to know that you're surrounded by people who care when you're at your lowest point, especially if you're dealing with a breakup or a divorce, or you're just coming out of a relationship, or you've just been ghosted and you have no idea why. Right? So there's no judgment when you're in a community, right? You can be as vulnerable as you want, as open as you want, as naked and exposed as you want, right? To talk about your painful experiences, because the healing is in exposing them and learning how to work through them. And that's what I teach you, and really letting them go. So you are where you belong. It's no accident that you're here. This is a beautiful picture of some of the women at my retreat, right? It's no accident that they showed up to do their work. You can see Dana in the background. She's a second girl right here. I don't know if my mouse is moving, but that was Dana at the retreat, right? And it's no accident that you're here. And it's no accident that Dana was there. It's no accident that Dana found her husband, or her husband found her, right? Everything in your life has brought you to this place right where you are right now and has prepared me to be here for you, right? So be obedient to the yearning inside of you that's desiring more in life, more in your career, more in your family, more in love. You deserve it. Life is too short to be pretending and living a turned down life and not really having the love and life that you deserve, right? It's time to live your best life again in 2019. And that's what I want to help you do. It's time to give birth to your breakthrough. It's time, and it takes time and it requires a process. And this is what, I help women do. This is why most of my programs are 9 months, my big program. But like I said, I do have shorter programs because not everyone needs a full 9 months. Some people just need a shot in the arm. And then some people need a full-on program. Some people can just come to the retreat and it helps. But most people that you see that are getting married in my group, they are signing up for my program, right? And they're working with me. And then they're doing one-on-one work with me. When you sign up for any of my program, it includes a one-on-one component. And then most of my programs. And then in addition to that, they're coming to the retreat. And so that's how they're becoming so successful. While so many other women are single, the women that work with me, they are finding the love that they deserve. They really are. And so again, it really comes down to really understanding what your wounds are and how deep they are and why you're so blinded by them. And we don't really think of ourselves as being blinded by them. But when you think about your relationships and after it's over, you're like, how come I let that happen? How come I didn't pick that up sooner? How come I didn't pay attention? Why did I let him play me like that? Right? It's because we're blinded, right? Because that man was probably our ideal, not really the good relationship, ready, marriage-minded men, healthy love that we should have attracted, right? But because he resonated with something. He could have resonated with the pain from your past, and he felt so familiar, and it felt like, oh wow, I feel like I know you. But he probably just reminded you of something from your past, right? And then what happens when we don't do our healing work, we continue, our body, our mind, our subconscious continues to fight for your healing. That's why so many of you are attracting the same kind of guy over and over and over and over and over and over again. Your mind, your subconscious is screaming, help, stop, learn the lesson and move on, right? And so that's what I want to help you understand, the lesson that you need to learn, understand where you need to do your healing so you can stop the toxic situations from occurring in your life and move on. Stop your money issues, stop your man issues, and move on to your best life. And then ultimately become Mrs. Right. That's what we're going to be working on this year. So only about 5 people, though, 5% of the people actually reach their goals in the entire world, right? So there's still lots of people, right? But when you think about it, only 5%, and this is because they really work with a mentor or coach and they have a good support system. You really can't do it alone. So many people think they can, and you really can't do it alone. So what about you? Right. What about you? You've been listening to me for about an hour or so now. And so what about you? What are your thoughts, right? Are you part of a community that's going to hold you down and support you through your breakthrough? If not, you want to consider at least making sure you're in my Facebook group. You want to make sure that you sign up for something to support you for 2019. Even myself, I have to continue to grow and learn, and I am planning to go to retreats this year. I am planning to be either further educated. There's additional certifications that I want. So you have to continue growing. Growing and learning never stops, right? And if you want your man this year, you have to do that, right? And some of the stuff that I'm talking to you about, the programs and things that I'm making available, they used to only be available to my high-end customers, right, for super expensive prices. And now they're not. Like I said, the 6-week program is $297. I finally remembered how much it costs. It's $297. And you can make 2 payments of $148 something, right? So that's not bad, right? And then, like I said, the bigger program, the retreat, is all inclusive. I don't make a profit out of the retreat. So everything that you pay for the retreat goes to your event. Your spa, your hotel is paid for. The only thing you have to pay for is your airfare to get there. I don't make any money. I don't walk away from the retreat with a profit at all. I put everything into that retreat for you. Your food, your meals are included. All of the workshop and sessions and people I bring in, it's all included. You don't have to do anything. You can, as a matter of fact, leave your wallet home. Once you get there, that's it. If you want to buy souvenirs or do something extra for yourself, that'll be on you, right? But everything else is totally, totally included, right? So this is Jamie again. And this is some of what I already spoke to you about, the retreat. And this is some of the stuff that's included in at least some of the retreats, all my retreats. We're talking about the Essence retreat, the Uncork and Unwind retreat, which again is February 14th to the 17th. This is going to be the retreat that we'll probably, I think we're going to do south of France. We're talking about south of France, the French Riviera or Bali, but we'll let you know. If anybody has a preference, just let me know. We'll see. But we always include transformational sessions, yoga, paint and sit, training materials. You have your meals. We have a boudoir photo session, a cocktail reception. We're probably not going to have a cruise in California, so this was last year. So every retreat is a little bit different. So if you want to know what's going to be included in the retreat that you have that you're considering, you have to go to the website. Go to loverejuvenationretreat.com and you can find the retreat that you want to attend. And if you're not sure, I can recommend which one would be best. But the one that's coming up that's going to be super powerful for you to go to is going to be the one in February. So I'm hoping to see many of you there in February. And so now this brings us to the end of our session. So I hope you enjoy that. I told you I was going to leave you some time for Q&A at the end. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. So I want to open up for any questions. You can ask me about questions about the retreat or about, sorry, I'm just trying to get this video together here, about the retreat, about any of the program, or you can ask me a question about what's going on in your personal dating world and what you might need assistance with and what's the next step. To be honest, I can't help everyone, and I'm very honest and transparent about that. I'm always very transparent about that. I can't help everyone, and I can't take on everyone because my services are very personalized, and I want to make sure the women I work with are successful. And so I'm very picky about keeping my programs very small so I can give you the most benefit that I can. So I'm going to open it up for questions. I'll let you ask some questions. You can raise your hand if you have a question, and I can call on you. And if not, I can read some of the questions that I got in. I'm so excited that we finished at a really good time because now I left a lot of time for Q&A. And I don't mind doing some coaching. If someone wants to pop on and they want me to coach them, I don't know, I only know 1 or 2 of the people that are on. So if you want to come on and you want me to personally coach you about a real life situation that you're dealing with, you can come on. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. You can just talk to me with your voice. So you have options. If you want to look at me face to face and me to look at you, you can come on screen as well. It's totally up to you. I want to remind those who might be on a little bit late that this session is recorded. So just keep that in mind when you are considering how you're going to join us for any of the Q&A. So is anyone, don't be shy, because this is your opportunity to get free coaching. And this is your opportunity to bless someone else who might be afraid to speak up and ask a question. It could be a question about dating next week. Maybe you got a date coming up. Maybe you're wondering about how do you, explain to a family that you're still single? How do you deal with family who wants to set you up with someone, trying to hook you up? How do you deal with that? How do you go about, what do you do, what you do in a date? How do you know when it's serious? Ask me whatever you want. So, and if you don't have questions, I am going to end the session early because I don't believe in fluffing stuff or wasting people's time. I will read a couple of the questions that I have, and then beyond that, we will wrap up the session. I think we have a question here. Let me see. If you can come on and unmute yourself, that's always best. But let me see if I can tell.
Camille.
Hi.
Hi, Camille. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. This is Cicely. Long time no talk to.
Oh, Cicely, how are you? From California?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. How are you, my dear?
I'm doing well. I wanted to say hi first off, and then I just want to share a situation that happened on our Friendsgiving, which was the day after Thanksgiving at our house, and just get your feedback on what you thought.
Sure. How did you enjoy the session tonight? Was it good?
You know what? I just got on maybe about 15 minutes late. Over here in California, I got my times mixed up, so I logged on a little late. So I have to go back and listen to the replay.
No worries. And that's why we have it. So how can I help you, my dear?
Okay, I'm getting a little feedback. I'm trying to find the right place in the house. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you perfectly, and I don't hear feedback or I don't hear any double talk.
Okay, I hear a little when I hear you speak, but I'm glad you can hear me clear. So I just want to share. So on the day after Thanksgiving, we had a lot of family and friends over, and she and my mom have been good friends for a very long time, and her nephew has moved out here, like from the South, and I was just feeling like he was trying to give me some signals and some signs that he was interested.
So who is this?
My aunt, she's my mother's friend over several years, so I call her my aunt.
Okay, but she's really no blood. But it's important in this conversation. She's not blood related, right?
Right. She's not blood related, and it's her nephew. Okay. Well, not actually her nephew, her husband's nephew.
Okay. Okay, so 1 degree away, still even further. Okay, and so he was right. Fine. So now tell me, okay, now that I understand the relation.
So he just we caught eyes several times throughout the night, and then his body language, and we tried to spark a conversation, but of course with fun and festivities, all different type of people started immersing themselves in the conversation. So I didn't know where the conversation could have led had we just continued on by ourselves. Mm-hmm. But I just felt some kind of way. And I thought about it, I was like, should I ask my aunt or my uncle, was he showing interest, or should I just fall back and let him inquire?
Mm-hmm. Well, so let me be very clear. Let me ask you first before I give my opinion. I like to get a little more detail. So when you say that there was some interest, what you said his body language and eye contact. So what exactly made you think that he was interested? Did he outright say something, or was he just looking like he wanted to eat you like you were a turkey leg? Or I mean, what was going
on? A couple of times I felt like he wanted to eat me like I was the Thanksgiving meal.
Okay.
But prior to that, just the eye contact and the longer stare, and then his body language when I walked towards his way, he kind of leaned back on one leg, like with a little cool strut, and you know, it was more so a feeling, the feelings that came from our interaction than language. And like I said, we were in the process of having a conversation about him retiring and moving out this way, and the change. And then other family members, kind of got in the conversation and got hijacked.
Okay, so you said retiring, so I take it that he's an older gentleman. And so like four, I think maybe like 50. Okay, so he ain't a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, not at all.
Right. So did he ask for your phone number?
No. And that's why I was like, I don't know where that conversation could have led. But then I was like, should I say something? But no, I don't think I should say anything, because if it was a genuine interest, he can, follow up on that.
And and you were at my last retreat, and we talked a lot about that, right? So yeah,
yes.
if a man is interested in you, he will definitely make it known that he's interested in you. And sometimes, especially since he has a connection to you, he might not, if he was interested, he might not be in a rush. I have to be honest, and I don't know if you remember the story of my husband and myself. We met actually at a party at my house, and we were there, we were talking. We didn't have anyone interrupting our conversation, but we were there in the middle of a party that I was hosting. And, then it became time to wrap everything up. And I actually asked him, because he didn't ask for my number. So I thought I was going to say, well, take the pressure off for him and say, hey, would you like my number? He actually said no. I don't, I don't really want your number.
I remember that.
Right. And so that could be so, and it didn't mean that he wasn't interested, because I was like, oh, because I felt the vibe that you're talking about as well. And I was like, oh, look, he doesn't want my number. And plus I knew a girlfriend was setting us up, because she kept telling me she was going to introduce me to a guy, that she knew. And anyway, he ended up coming to the party. I just didn't know that he was coming to that party. So, but when I met him, I knew that she was hooking us up. And so I knew that there was some interest already, because we were being hooked up. He didn't take my number, and we went a couple of months. And then he finally emails me. He took my email and he emailed me and asked, could he call me? You all know the story. My number was on the bottom of each and every email that he received. But he respectfully asked, could he have my number? And I played along and I gave it to him, and he called me like a grown man, and he said he wanted to take me out. So you have to be patient. I'm going to give you two different ways to go after this. You have to, one, be patient, because if he's interested, he's a grown man. He knows what he wants. Just flirting, but he's not available, right?
Right.
So the other thing that I want to tell you to do, well, first, just be patient and see and wait, because he knows how to get in touch with you if he really wants to. The other thing you can do to really satisfy that curiosity is speak to your aunt and your uncle and say, hey, I noticed your nephew, Billy, whoever, was there. And, we kind of caught eyes a little bit. First, your question even before you say you caught eyes, you want to probably ask, is he single, or what's his situation? So that's what you want to know, because he could be married and his wife is out of town or whatever, right? So, or his friend didn't show up, so you want to say, even before you say that there's any interest, because they'll know you have interest just by asking a question. But what is his current situation? And then your second question is, what do you think about him? He seems nice. What could you tell me about him? Is he single and available, or what's his situation? Or he seemed like he was looking at me quite a bit. What do you think about that? And just get there, because you can tell what people think. They might say, he's a bum, girl, please, no. Or they might say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we didn't think about that. Let me give him a call, or would you like me to give him your number? You just don't know. So you can just be curious. You know how I always teach you to be authentically curious and just ask questions. What do they think? And pay attention, because if they're like, he's a bum, he got 50 kids and 40 baby mamas, girl, he can't even pay the child support for who he's with, right? So I'm just making stuff up.
Yeah, because I'm like, he's pretty well off, well-to-do. And he had on his little Letterman jacket, his little Omega Sci-Fi Letterman jacket that night. I can tell. He's well-educated, and he's a businessman.
So you can just find out from them what their thoughts are, since you have a connection, because because they are your best into him, right? Because if you ask them questions, what do you think? Is he available? Is he good, relationship material? Or what are your thoughts? They, if they really like you and like him, they will say, hey, yeah, I think you and him would be great together. And just by them even making that intro, or maybe having you both over to dinner or going out to dinner or something, they will be able to make that connection. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense, yes.
And that's what I would do in that situation. I would take it back to them, and just ask him or her, whoever you're close to, what do they think? And listen to what they say. You know what I mean? Because if he's 50, then I'm assuming that they must be 70, maybe even a little older. And so, right? And so they should, give you an honest opinion and go from there. And if they're a couple, they sound like they were probably married for a long time. So they can, they probably love, and they'll be happy to connect you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, awesome. How did you enjoy the retreat?
I loved it. I'm over here doing the math and trying to see how I can budget to go to the
one in Temecula?
The retreat coming up in February. Because I'm like, come on, you can't be in California and I not attend. I'm like, what?
Tell the ladies on the call and who may watch the replay, since you just went to the retreat. This is December. So Cecily went to the retreat in October. So tell them why. I mean, because now you're considering going to another retreat that's not even a year later. October, November, December, January, February. Not even 6 months later, right? So tell them why.
Because it was, for me, it was soothing to my soul. Everything, first of all, it was my birthday. And then I have never been to Virginia. And everything was just A1, high energy, well done. And just in terms of the content that we were taking in, it was just everything that I needed. The lessons that I learned, the pole dancing, I'm trying to find a pole dancer in the Bay Area. Like I'm just, it was such high energy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Just how talented the young lady was.
Yeah, she was super talented, right?
Super talented. But even the little moves that I've learned, like I've been rehearsing in my head, and I'm trying to find a class so I can continue to build on that. But everything about the trip in itself was amazing. The location, the food, the layout and presentation of the.
How much money did you spend
But,
after you got here?
oh, when I got to
After you
Virginia, oh, after the trip,
got, no, when you got to Virginia,
oh,
how much?
nothing. Oh, nothing.
Right.
Nothing at all. We ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and whatever meals weren't included, I had food left over from the meal prior to that. I didn't come out of my pocket for anything, with an exception for the extra day that I chose to stay and go to the mall.
Mm-hmm. What about the spa?
I didn't have to come out. Oh my gosh. I mean, just first, everything was just first class. It was just like breathtaking, a breathtaking experience that I have yet to have on my own. So I want to thank you for exposing me to just the beauty and opulence of what I experienced.
Awesome. I love that word opulence. I love to use that as well. Nice definition. And then again, I like to keep the retreat small because I know, Cicely, you were one that I gave a little extra one-on-one attention to. And so what do you
Yes,
think
ma'am.
about that? Because sometimes when you go to these events, you never get to talk to the person who's supposed to be the coach to give you any assistance, right? So how did that
Mm-hmm,
work
mm-hmm.
for you? Did you have access?
Amazing. It was very, very intimate and personal, and um the areas where you were helping and coaching me at were like areas where my insecurities lied. But I felt nothing but genuine love and care and concern and attention to detail as how you help support me in that area.
Good.
So yeah.
Good. And she did a photo shoot, so all the makeup that she has, I actually did her makeup as well, which is
Yes,
all
yes, yes,
passion.
yes, you did. And I've been wearing makeup ever since then, like just little light touches. And I'm telling you, I'm trying to get back to the next one. I'm trying to recreate the experiences that I had at your retreat in my day-to-day personal life. So yeah,
Yes.
it's very powerful.
Good, good. Thank you for that. And I didn't even know Cecily was joining tonight. So thank you so much. And she has a new book out there too. And why don't you share that in the group when you get a chance? And
Okay.
I think it's amazing. And so I've worked with Cecily before. She was a previous client of mine, and we worked together for quite some time. And then I hadn't heard from her in a while. And then she just signed up for the retreat. I was like, oh, wow, it was nice to see her. So that was nice. And thank you so much. And thank you for your accolades. I really appreciate that. And I hope they really benefit and bless someone on this call. I'm going to move on to, thank you so much, Cecily, for speaking up and sharing.
You're more than welcome.
I hope, let me know how things work out with the gentleman. Just DM me or whatever. Send me an email if you need some more information.
Okay.
Once you're one of my clients, you become like my sister friend, my mama sister friend. So we keep in touch. Jamie, I'm going to be at her baby shower,
Yeah.
right? And so, you know, she's, you know, that's how close we are. So once we, you know, some of my clients, I have made their wedding cakes because I make wedding cakes. I used to have my own wedding planning business. So I end up helping them with a lot of their weddings or their shower stuff or stuff like that because I used to do that. And I used to do makeup because my dad was a fashion designer and a photographer. So, I kind of have my hands in all of that and end up being a great benefit to a lot of women. So I'm looking forward to blessing some new women's life over this next year. So thank you for that. Okay, so I have a question from Tanisha. Tanisha, do you want to come online and speak? I'll read your question while you're coming off of mute. She says, how to cut off a guy from your past who wants to still be friends. For example, guys you may have dated, were intimate with and ended for whatever reason, but you know, for a fact, I don't have my glasses on, that you have to cut things off completely, but they still keep hitting you up and contacting you and texting you on social media. Okay. So Tanisha, are you there?
Hi, Camille. Can you hear me?
Hey, Tanisha. Yes, I can. Loud and clear, and you can hear me, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So just to elaborate a little bit, not to get into too much detail because I know it's late. Like I have a few male, I don't know if you could call them friends or not, but we dated in the past, we're intimate, and then I guess we're cool, but I know like I feel like they shouldn't be around. So they call and they contact me, and it's like a mutual, I guess, casual friendship, but I feel like in order to move on, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be talking to them, if that makes sense.
Mhm. So why do you keep talking to them?
I guess the attention.
Mm. I applaud your honesty. I really applaud your honesty because so many women would dance around that. And thank you for being that honest with yourself. Um, and so, how long have you been single?
Um, well, my last relationship was 3 years ago now, and that was a bad, like really bad breakup.
What
But
happened?
I'm sorry.
What happened in the relationship that caused it to break up?
Um, well, he wasn't consistent. He cheated. He lied a lot.
Mhm.
And he was someone that, again, I knew I shouldn't have been with him, but I guess the idea of being in a relationship, and like you said earlier, you touched on trauma. So I guess that was familiar to me, if that makes sense.
So, do you know what your ish is, or what your trauma from your childhood could be, or what your, you know, what?
It's a bunch of everything you touched on mixed together, I think.
Oh, so you're like me.
Yeah. Yes.
Traumatic mutt.
Yes.
That's a new term I just coined. So we're traumatic mutts. So yeah, so okay, so that's good because that when you told me, and I'm so happy that you know that because that makes things easier for you. Um, and that's why you want the attention. You love the attention because of the trauma you've been through and maybe the lack of love that you have,
Mhm. Yeah.
and you and if you've had rape or abuse, I can tell you as a rape victim, or maybe I should change that to a rape victor. Um,
Yes.
Sometimes we learn that love is sex, and that's how men
Mm.
give us attention and make us feel good.
Yeah.
And if you've been abused, it sounds sick, but it becomes a way that you get love. And some,
Yeah.
I'll say all strippers and stuff, because nowadays stripper is a real profession and you don't have to be broken to be a stripper. But years ago, it seemed like most people
Hmm.
stripping because they were looking for that or they had some type of trauma in their childhood, but not
Right.
stripper girl. The teachers and
Right.
treats, they're good. so
Right. Right.
so
Right.
here's the thing. Let me get back to your question. I just want to thank you for letting me dive in a little bit about what's happened to you. What you have to do is cut it off, but you have to cut it off with a plan, because if you just shut it down, you could do your confidence, self-esteem could take a big hit. So you
Hmm.
have to have something in
Hmm.
to balance that. Again, of course,
Okay.
like one of my programs to support you through that process. It's like you don't just stop taking
Okay.
drugs and go cold turkey. Not everybody can do that. You need a process. Not everybody can
Right.
an abused home. You need an escape plan, right? So you kind of need an
Hmm.
escape plan, from these toxic men that that the relationship is not really going anywhere, nothing's going to happen, but you enjoy the
Hmm.
attention. And so there's a fine line between going out and enjoying a date and having a great time because, hey, you enjoy the attention, and just doing the same thing over and over again and really not getting anywhere. So I'm glad that you
Right.
get that. Just have to cut it off. Just
Okay.
very blunt. You can block them if you have a smartphone. You can block any one number. You can block them on social media. You can block them. You can block them all at once, or you can block them one by one. So it's up to you how you block them. But again, to balance that out, I would encourage you to, again, work with a coach like me that can really walk you
Okay.
through making sure you've healed from some of that traumatic stuff in your past, heal your ish, and really walk you through a process of really getting to healthy love. Let's try to dig into why haven't you dated in 2 years? I mean, or been in a solid relationship, because if that's your desire, it shouldn't take 2 years. And so we need to see
Okay.
what's going on. Sometimes there's some residue that's still there, even sometimes if we've done our work. There could be some residue there that's still blocking healthy men from really looking at us as a wife. And so I would personally, with you, dive more into your past. My program kind of takes you through a process where, all of my program starts with what's your ish. I need you to make sure you're crystal clear. I was raped. I was abused. I was abandoned. I was battered. I was hurt. I was a teenage mom. Whatever your situation is, you have to clearly understand that so that we can have a specific plan or go forward on how to work through and unravel that, right? And sometimes I do all the work myself, and sometimes, especially at my retreats, like this last retreat, I had a therapist there that ended up working with some of the women there to really help them work through and break through some of these things. And then sometimes people need to take that a step further and see a psychiatrist. So it just, everybody is different. And the bottom line is that there's no shame in getting help. And so, think about what I mentioned. Some of the, I don't never know what anybody's financial situation is, but if anybody wants to turn a taste, I'm going to encourage you to sign up for the 6-week program that's starting. I think December 10th is next week, right? It starts on December.
Next week, yeah.
It starts on December 10th. Sign up for that program. It's only $297. You can do 2 payments of $148. If you need to split it up a little bit bigger, smaller than that, let me know. I could see what I can do. But that's an easy way to get in and to really get 6 weeks worth of help from me personally, because those sessions will be live like now. And you'll have an opportunity to do Q&A like we're doing now. And then on top of that, you will have an opportunity. It depends. I think for the program, I think I give most people 1 big session with me. And then I think I had a bonus in this email that you probably got today that said if you sign up, the first X amount of women that sign up, you get an extra bonus coaching session from me. Those coaching sessions are powerful. And when I can, I give them away because they're worth more than gold. I have to tell you, me working with you and helping you create when I work with my coach, it's like, oh my gosh, that's it. And problem solve, and I can move forward and I can just keep going. And so that it's super powerful. So that's what I would really recommend. You have to cut it off, but you have to replace it. So consider, and then consider the retreat. The retreat, I made the retreat intentionally around Valentine's Day, because so many women are single and lonely and they feel so depressed because everybody is posting their gifts and their flowers and their stuff, right? And then single women don't have nothing to post. And you're like feeling so lonely and sad and depressed, and you don't even want to go on Facebook that whole week for a week or two, right? But guess what? Meet me in California for this retreat. You will have way better pictures at the.
I have to budget like Cicely. So.
Definitely check it out because everything is included. Everything is included, so you don't need anything else. And so the retreat, I think it's $3,200. It's not cheap, but that's because the hotel we're staying at, I think is a 5-star, 7-star hotel, and everything You don't have to do anything. Everything. You're getting a hot air balloon ride. You're getting wine tasting. The wine tour, wine tasting is included. Your breakfast, lunch, and dinner is included. The spa. You don't pay for anything. Once you get there, it's just done. So just think of paying for your vacation. You know, a lot of people split out the
Okay.
hotel, so you feel like it's a little bit cheaper, but I don't feel like I need to play games with people. You know what the hotel costs, and I don't want you to say
Right.
because we need to all
Now,
work together.
will the retreat in the fall be
I didn't get the last part. Will the retreat in the fall be?
in Virginia Beach again? I think I missed that.
No, I don't think it's going to be in Virginia Beach. I shouldn't say no for 100% because everyone loves coming here.
Okay.
So even if I didn't do it here, I might do a one-day event here because the place that we do the retreat here, you can't beat it. We're right on the beach. It has a club, dance
Okay.
club. We have a spa right here. The classroom, we sit and watch the ocean all day. So you
Mm,
can't really beat where it is here in Virginia Beach. I don't, and you guys, ladies, if you haven't been on a vacation, come out to Virginia Beach. If you want an excuse, I always host a class for you to come. So I may just do a 1 day or 2 day
okay.
thing here but I really want to take my fall treat somewhere this year. And so
Okay, I see.
yeah, we're looking at, so I'm not saying no to Virginia Beach, but I'm just saying that we're exploring. We may have to still do Virginia Beach if we have a big enough request for it. What we're looking to do is do events and retreats quarterly for this next year. And hopefully the year or two after that, we'll be going to maybe more of a monthly or every other month. We're doing retreats. And
Mhm.
so we're trying to build that way. But we're thinking about the south of France or someplace like Bali for the fall.
Okay.
We'll get that out shortly. Again, we're still working on our February retreat and then our Essence trip to New Orleans and then the fall. So we'll be
Mhm.
rolling all of that information out to everyone. Yeah. So cut
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
welcome. Thank you for speaking up. Yeah, just cut them off, but get support. Don't cut them off and then now you're lonely, depressed, and you're sitting in there and you just don't know what to do. So and don't cut them all
Mhm.
off at one time. You know, have your pecking order. The ones that really you shouldn't be dealing with,
Okay.
get rid of them first and like I said, get the support you need so you don't have to do that. So we can get you in communities with meaning men who are worthwhile, men who will treat you well,
Mhm.
who will see that you are valuable and are wife material, and then will eventually help you to become Mrs. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Camille.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Do we have any other questions? And thank you too for coming on. I appreciate that. Do we have any other questions from anyone? I'm going to check the Facebook group real quick. Okay, ladies, you have just a few more minutes if you want to get your question in. Don't be shamed. This is, again, this is our last probably masterclass of this year. Your last opportunity to just come on, get some free coaching, ask some questions, and get what you need. Any more questions, ladies? All right. I'm going once. You better speak up. I don't mind giving you coaching. Got a question? You're here for a reason. Do y'all love the beautiful flowers my husband gave me? I like exotic flowers. So I'm not a carnation and just a rose type of woman. And see, when you attract the love that you deserve, you will get everything you deserve. I hate carnations and I don't mind getting a rose, but I'm not your typical flower girl that you can just go pick up any place, right? Sometimes my husband does just give me flowers because maybe he was in a supermarket and he picks them up and brought them home, and that's okay. I don't ever reject them. But, he stops at a florist and he just gets me flowers. I've been getting flowers seems like every 2 weeks now, for the past couple of weeks. But these are so beautiful. Bird of Paradise is my favorite. I have never in my life seen a red bird of paradise. So he ordered that from somewhere. So it's so beautiful. And when you attract the love that you deserve, your man will not just give you something like flowers just to be giving you something like flowers. He's going to give you what you desire, what you like, what you need, what you love, because he wants to make your life better. He wants to put a smile on your face, right? And so watch my flowers. You'll always see their exotic flowers because that's what I love, and he knows that, right? And in turn, he likes his vegetables cut up in itty bitty pieces. So I gotta chop them. I don't like that because I like big chunks, but I chop them up for him because that's what he likes, right? So, and there are other things that he loves too, right? So that's what happens when you have healthy love. You have, you're looking out for each other, and you're making each other happy, and you are making sure that you are adding value to your lives together and building your future together. And that's what having a healthy relationship is all about. Okay, I'm going to ask one more time before we wrap up tonight's session. Does anyone else have any questions, any situations, any situationships you want to ask me about, you want to get clarity on, you want to get coached on? You can just raise your hand, or you can just take yourself off of mute. Okay, so it sounds like we've gotten through most of the questions for tonight. And if we have, I'm going to thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate you spending your Sunday evening here with me to allow me to pour into you and to share with you some of the secrets to really setting yourself up for success in 2019. It's going to be super critical. I don't want you to continue to do the same thing over and over again. I want you to really, really get down the tools that you need to attract the love that you deserve. And if you don't walk away from this session with anything, I know it was a lot of information. I want you to remember that you need to, one, identify what your issue is, right? Where do you need to heal? Maybe is there a grown little girl inside of you that needs some healing? How old is she? When was she wounded? Right? Those are the type of things that you really need to work on. How does she need to be nurtured? What are your core values? Right? What kind of man will connect with what you need? And it's not just tall, dark, and handsome and rich, right? Who connects with you is what you need to understand, right? And then the other thing is, how do you release some of that stuff? How do you let go of control? How do you open up your heart? How do you allow yourself to be vulnerable? How do you tear down some of those walls and get rid of those trigger buttons, right? And then how do you just activate your femininity so that you can really attract a masculine man? Most men, masculine men who are looking for a wife, they're looking for a feminine woman. So how do you activate your femininity? Because that's the real juice. When you can heal and activate your femininity, that's juice right there, right? You're just about there, right? So I'm inviting you to partner with me throughout this year. I will have a lot of free programs for you, like my summit. I'm sure I'll have some more masterclasses coming up for you over the next year. But also, don't just take advantage of the free stuff. Invest in yourself. I try to go to at least 2 retreats. I try to go to at least 2 educational programs, 2 health programs. I plan what I'm going to do for the year, not just vacation. Most people are not just taking vacations anymore. They're taking doing retreats, because one, you get your vacation, and then you get your healing or your health or whatever you're going, your business set up, you get whatever you need to get done. So do something different this year. Don't just go on a vacation with the girls sitting on the beach. Go on a vacation with the girls sitting on the beach at a retreat, whether it's mine or someone else, so that you can get what you need. Of course, mine is the best because I'm the only relationship coach that has an all-inclusive, high-end retreat. So consider it, right? And if you have a business, want to start a business, consider a business retreat. Do something different for yourself. Don't just do the same thing you've been doing last year and the year before, because you haven't gotten anywhere. If it hasn't gotten you anywhere, stop. Do something different. And that's what I want to encourage you to do today, is to do something different. And I do want to encourage you, sign up for a program and sign up for a retreat. I'm doing the same thing for myself, right? That's how I stay ahead of the curve, is that I continue to educate myself, take care of my health, and learn, right? You have to, as long as you're alive, you got to keep learning. So I'm going to encourage you to do the same thing. And again, if you're not really sure where to start, just start with the Healthy Love Intensive program that's starting next Sunday, or not next Sunday, on December 10th. So you all should have that in your email, and just start there. It's a very low priced program, but you get some high touch from me. I can tell you very upfront, you're not going to get everything you're going to get in a 9-month program, because it's a 6-week program. Right. The 4-day retreat is very powerful in Temecula and later on this year, because I get to be with you one-on-one, and really there's no cost on that. There's just priceless, right? To really just have me and other professionals there to walk you through your journey, right? So consider that, ladies. I want to help you get love next year. I want to help you attract the love that you deserve, the love that's going to be for you. What's for someone else is not for you. I want to help you attract the love that you deserve. And the only way you can do that is by investing in yourself. You can watch all the free stuff all you want. I can tell you, nobody's going to give you everything you need to know in free stuff. I probably gave you more than anybody gives you, right? But because I know there's so much more for you to learn. And I want you to be very clear and have a very precise plan. So thank you for staying on with me to the end. I really appreciate that. I'm honored. I know it's Sunday. I know your time is valuable. Consider what I've said. Pick something, start somewhere, make next year different. Don't just attend all the free stuff. You're not going to get anything out of that. You didn't last year. You don't have a man. So this year, let's do something different. That's why my book is called Successful Women Date Differently. I want to show you how to do something different. I want to give you the blueprint to dating differently, show you the strategies to really attracting a man and healing yourself from the inside out. Right? So that's the name of the game. I'm Camille Sheppard-Parrish. I am your healthy love coach. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'll see you next time. I hope to see many of you in the class next week and at the retreat in February. I wish you luck. Bye, everyone. Take care.